From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reported tonight.
Hello and welcome. I am Olumide Macaulay. Tonight, President Jonathan meets Pope Francis I, confers with the pontiff on the promotion of interfaith dialogue in Nigeria and across the world. Ogun PDP urges former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Dimeji Bankole, to contest the governorship seat in the state as Ayo Fayose emerges candidate of the PDP in the Ekiti state governorship election. Legal practitioner Femi Falana faults National Assembly over a proposed investigation of the botched immigration recruitment across Nigeria. And Russian troops storm a Ukrainian air base in Crimea amidst shooting and blasts.
On Business News tonight, the 237th meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee of the CBN begins next week.
And in sports news, Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho hails team's no-nonsense approach in the demolition of Arsenal.
We begin tonight in Rome, where the president has conferred with the Pope Francis I on the promotion of interfaith dialogue in Nigeria and other parts of the world to foster greater global peace and security. Now, speaking to journalists after his private meeting with the Pope at the Vatican City, President Goodluck Jonathan commended the pontiff for his commitment to dialogue across faiths, adding that his administration is also focused on promoting religious harmony in Nigeria. State House correspondent Chukwuma Nekusi reports from the Vatican.
My coming to visit the Pope is a state visit. It's actually to discuss issues, especially the issues of interfaith dialogue, interreligious dialogue that the Vatican has been promoting. Back home, John Cardinal Onaikan is the team leader that is handling that. So when we come, as I come here to interface with the Pope, ask for the blessings, for the prayers, and also to commend them for what they've been doing in terms of assisting Nigeria in form of prayers. The Pope has always been showing concerns about the crisis we have in the country. He's been advocating the need for us as a world to drive away poverty, to make sure that the ordinary people of this world are in position to live a decent life. This has been his belief, and we have to encourage them, we have to interface with them, and see the linkages, how this country can also link up with the Vatican to ensure that these things are done successfully back home.
President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. Now to politics. Voting has ended in the Nasarawa state local government election after the exercise commenced late due to late arrival of voting materials to polling centers. Accreditation of voters started by 12 p.m. after an election official in charge of distributing the electoral materials in Lafia local government area absconded from his duty post. The chairman of the State Independent Electoral Commission, Mr. Abdullahi Modibo, explained that the situation led to a mix-up in the ballot papers and result sheets. Among the voters is the state governor, Tanko Almakura, who describes the exercise as peaceful and credible. In the meantime, collation and counting of results are ongoing across the state.
The election is generally peaceful. And as I left the government house to come and vote in my unit, in my ward, I noticed a kind of peaceful decorum throughout the route I followed in the town up to my unit. That indicates that the election is generally peaceful as far as what we can see. And from the reports I receive, across the state, it appears, except for one or two things that are usual with this kind of exercise, one can safely say this election is peaceful and free and fair. I know exercise like this would have certain challenges, would have certain problems. There are avenues where people will air their grievances. I want to urge the people of Nasarawa State to be law-abiding, to respect the rule of law, and let's go about this election in a most peaceful manner. That will mean people will express their votes, will express their views without any hindrance, without any problem.
You cannot know the character of a human being until he exhibited such characters to you. And I think the person we sent here as an electoral officer, at the eve of the election, he disappeared. So we have to appoint another one. He claimed that he's sick, maybe because he's afraid of the election or so. So we have to make an alternative arrangement to address the problem in good time. But I want to tell
The last speaker, but one, Governor Tanko Al-Makura of Nasarawa State. The race to the seat of power, come 2015 in Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, may have begun as the former Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Honorable Dimeji Bankole, is being wooed into the 2015 governorship race in the state. At a meeting held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, political leaders from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, from the 6 local government areas that make up the Ogun Central Senatorial District unanimously endorsed the candidature of the former Speaker. The former Speaker, who attended the meeting physically, avoided any form of interview. In the meantime, a former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, has emerged the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, in the June 21st governorship election in the state. Mr. Fayose polled 462 votes out of a total of 477 votes cast in the party's primary held in the state capital, Ado-Ekiti, while the immediate past Minister of Police Affairs, Caleb Oluwalade, scored 7 votes to emerge second. Announcing the results, former governor of Rivers State and the leader of the PDP panel, which conducted the primaries, Mr. Peter Odili, said a total of 544 delegates were accredited for the poll, out of which 4 votes were declared invalid. More Nigerians have called for the resignation of the Minister of Interior over the death of about 20 applicants at the recruitment exercise conducted by the Nigeria Immigration Service. Activists at a forum which took place in Abuja also discussed the ongoing national conference, saying it's an opportunity to strategize on ways to advance national development.
It was a small gathering, but one that was joined by others through the social media and the telephone.
The National Assembly actually.
One of the issues discussed was the stampede during the recruitment exercise by the Nigeria Immigration Service. Some of the applicants described the experience.
When they were rushing, everybody has in no space, you can't breathe. The next thing, people are falling down.
Some of those at the forum were unhappy with the incident.
The stampede is an inexcusable scandal.
What you people are calling a stampede in various stadia, I would call it organized manslaughter.
They also gave some thoughts on the way forward.
I think the minister is unfit for purpose and should stand down. He does not need to be tortured. He does not need to be fired. He should fire himself.
We must reject the proposition by the Federal Executive Council that they will give jobs to relations of people who died. Dying was not one of the conditions spelled out to get those jobs.
Participants were divided on the relevance of the ongoing national conference.
I will make the case that lets us, as Nigerians who are in the conference and those who are not in the conference, use it as an opportunity to start discussing how we can move this country forward.
I strongly feel we're spending too much on this activity. More so, I will safely say, and I'm carefully saying, that I'm also skeptical about what will happen with the outcome of the national conference.
The organizers of the forum say this discussion is a step in the right direction for change in the country.
People think that this job of a new Nigeria belongs to a particular group. No. We've been able to bring Nigerians together this afternoon to talk about what is our problem. We've been able to identify our problem. We've been able to even make recommendations on how we can take it forward. The duty is for everybody to start with himself.
It is hoped that discussions like this will help delegates at the national conference direct their deliberations for a new Nigeria.
Still on the immigration recruitment exercise, Mr. Femi Falana is against the proposed National Assembly investigation into last Saturday's immigration recruitment test across the country. The legal practitioner says agencies like the National Human Rights Commission, the NHRC, and the Nigerian Police Force should be allowed to carry out the investigation, which is their constitutional function.
We had a tragedy in the various parts of the country on Saturday, which is now regarded as now called recruitment tragedy. I was flabbergasted to learn that the House of Reps has begun an investigation into the matter. Under what powers? That is the exclusive preserve. That's the business of the National Human Rights Commission. With respect to the areas of murder, if you want to pursue murder, you call the police. The National Assembly is not an ombudsman. They can condemn the tragedy, like all well-meaning Nigerians have done. But in terms of investigating, it has nothing to do with lawmaking. So you will call the appropriate agency of government, the National Human Rights Commission, the Nigerian Police Force. Can you investigate and let us have a report? The National Assembly usurps the powers of these statutory bodies. At the end of its investigation, it then sends the reports to these bodies. Say, for instance, the EFCC. That body will now have to begin the investigation afresh, because it cannot rely on a report compiled by a body that is not vested to do so by law.
More on this, please join our judiciary correspondent, Shola Shoyele, for a more comprehensive interview with the legal practitioner on Law Weekly tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. You're watching the news at 10 in part 2 after the break. Indigents of Benue State raise concerns over the incessant attacks on their people by herdsmen. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.